Intermittent fasting has become one of the most widely discussed dietary approaches in recent years, often praised for its potential to improve weight management, support metabolic health, and even promote longevity. From time-restricted feeding schedules to alternate-day fasting, millions of people have adopted these patterns in the hope of better energy regulation, mental clarity, and metabolic resilience. While the benefits are real and well documented in numerous studies, emerging research is showing that fasting also has complex effects on the body's hormonal systems, particularly when fasting periods are extended or repeated over long periods. A recent study sheds new light on how intermittent fasting may influence cortisol levels, thyroid function, and reproductive health, suggesting that the practice is not a one-size-fits-all solution, but a powerful tool that requires mindful application. Cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, is one of the most directly affected by fasting. Normally, cortisol follows a diurnal rhythm, peaking in the morning to help us wake up and gradually declining throughout the day. When we introduce prolonged periods without food, cortisol levels can rise as the body perceives a temporary stressor, signaling the need to mobilize stored energy for survival. In practical terms, this elevation can have mixed effects. For some individuals, moderate increases in cortisol during fasting may enhance alertness, focus, and motivation, explaining why many intermittent fasters report heightened mental clarity and productivity during fasting windows. On the other hand, chronically elevated cortisol can increase fatigue, disrupt sleep patterns, or even affect appetite regulation, which may counter some of the metabolic benefits of fasting if not carefully managed. The encouraging aspect is that the body generally adapts to shorter fasting windows without tipping into harmful chronic stress. By designing fasting schedules thoughtfully and ensuring that meals are nutrient-dense and adequately timed, people can harness the beneficial aspects of this stress response, such as improved energy mobilization and metabolic flexibility, while minimizing potential downsides. Thyroid hormones, which are central to regulating metabolism, energy expenditure, and temperature control, also appear sensitive to fasting. The study noted that triiodothyronine, T3, and thyroxine, T4, levels can show subtle reductions in response to longer fasting periods. At first glance, this might sound alarming, as the thyroid is often associated with energy levels and metabolic rate. However, this response reflects a natural adaptive mechanism. The body slows its metabolic pace when it senses a temporary scarcity of energy to preserve vital functions. In other words, rather than indicating damage, these changes demonstrate metabolic resilience. Intermittent fasting can therefore be seen as a form of metabolic training, helping the body become more efficient at switching between fuel sources, such as carbohydrates and fats, without compromising overall thyroid health. Many people who practice fasting strategically, aligning it with workouts or ensuring balanced, nutrient-rich meals, experience no long-term disruption to their thyroid function, which suggests that the benefits of increased metabolic flexibility can be achieved safely. Reproductive hormones, particularly in women, are another area where intermittent fasting can have noticeable effects. The study observed that fasting can alter the timing and regularity of menstrual cycles and may influence ovulation, reflecting the body's sensitivity to energy availability. Men also showed small changes in testosterone levels under extreme fasting conditions. These findings are important to consider for individuals planning pregnancy or experiencing hormonal imbalances, but they also highlight the body's remarkable ability to respond dynamically to temporary changes in energy intake. Many of these hormonal shifts are reversible once normal eating patterns are resumed, which means that intermittent fasting does not necessarily pose a permanent risk to reproductive health. When fasting is approached with flexibility, by shortening fasting windows, ensuring sufficient caloric and nutrient intake, and monitoring overall well-being, individuals can maintain reproductive health while still benefiting from the metabolic and cognitive advantages that fasting offers. Beyond the specific hormone systems examined, intermittent fasting has broader positive implications for metabolic health. Research consistently shows that controlled fasting can improve insulin sensitivity, reduce markers of systemic inflammation, and support cardiovascular health. These benefits are thought to stem partly from the body's adaptation to intermittent periods of energy restriction, which can improve the efficiency of cellular energy utilization and promote repair mechanisms, such as autophagy. Autophagy, the process by which cells clear out damaged components and recycle nutrients, is increasingly recognized as a critical pathway for longevity and disease prevention. In this sense, intermittent fasting can be framed not as a stressor, but as a carefully applied stimulus that strengthens the body's resilience and self-repair capacity. It is also worth noting the psychological and behavioral advantages of intermittent fasting. Many people find that having structured fasting windows simplifies decision-making around meals, reduces the constant mental load of food choices, and encourages more mindful eating when they do consume calories. This can contribute to a more balanced relationship with food, particularly for those who have historically struggled with overeating or frequent snacking. Importantly, the flexibility of intermittent fasting allows it to be adapted to individual lifestyles, activity levels, and health goals, meaning that it can be incorporated in ways that support hormone balance rather than disrupt it. For example, fasting schedules can be adjusted for exercise routines, work demands, or social considerations, ensuring that the body's energy needs are met while still reaping the metabolic benefits of fasting. Ultimately, the key takeaway is that intermittent fasting is a powerful tool, not a rigid prescription. The new study underscores that while prolonged fasting can influence cortisol, thyroid, and reproductive hormones, these effects are often temporary and reversible, and they do not outweigh the multiple metabolic, cognitive, and longevity-related benefits when fasting is practiced thoughtfully. By listening to one's body, choosing appropriate fasting windows, and prioritizing nutrient-dense meals, individuals can harness the positive effects of intermittent fasting while maintaining hormonal balance. The practice, rather than being a potential threat, can become a way to cultivate metabolic flexibility, improve resilience to stress, and enhance overall health. In this sense, intermittent fasting emerges not as a risk to be feared, but as an adaptive strategy that encourages the body to respond intelligently to temporary challenges, leading to long-term wellness and vitality.